let me send out a few reminders here. All right, we'll give it about maybe 5 more minutes, and then we will start with our community meeting. Hopefully, we get a few more people today. Hey, Amir, good morning to you. Good morning, Kareem. Good to see you as well.
Good morning.
Got a couple more people in here. That is good. All right, y'all, get yourselves together. We'll give it about maybe 3 more minutes. See if we get anybody else logged on here. Right, give it about 2 more minutes, 1 more minute here. All right, y'all, good morning. Again, good to see everybody. We can go ahead and jump into our community meeting since it is about 10 after. Hopefully, we get a few more people logged on as we go. But if not, I'm glad to see all of you today. Welcome. Happy almost Friday. Um, as a reminder, real quick, before we jump into anything else, don't forget that the work for our next progress report is due tomorrow at the end of the day. So make sure you are getting everything turned in. Right. We will recap.
Will work, Mister. Will work.
What's up, Cream?
I said, will work. You talking about?
I'm just talking about in general for all your classes. For this class specifically, we'll go over what you guys should have turned in by tomorrow, after community meeting. But just in general, like are the work that your teachers are going to be using for the next progress report. That stuff is due by the end of the day tomorrow. So just a reminder to keep that in mind. Okay. Any other questions with that? All right. Good morning, Rashawn. Welcome. All right. Well, then, if not, we can move right along into our community meeting. And our question for today is one that excuse me. One that I always find interesting. I'm going to put it in the chat here as well. All right. Gotcha. So Zach, I just saw your chat. You'll be okay for today, and what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show everybody today what I made that we can use, that everybody can use to get caught up. And then if you still need more help after that, you come see me in the summit lab. So no worries. All right, but here's our community meeting question for today. I'm putting it in the chat as well, but it is, who has been your biggest role model and why? Or if you don't have one, are you your biggest role model? Why? Okay. No worries, Zach. I will let them know, and I'll let Miss Kelsey know as well. Okay. So that is the question I want us to think about this morning for our community meeting. Do you have somebody that's been a role model in your life. Who is that person and why? Um, or do you view them as a role model? And if you don't, do you view yourself as your own role model? Why or why not? Think about it. Put it in the chat. You can come off mute, right? I know this
My
might
dad is my role model
a minute or two. Your dad, Zach, that's cool. Why?
because my dad, first of all, he's a working man. He likes to work. And
That's good.
then him and my mom left each other in 2012.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad, he's my stepfather, but he
Okay.
raised me since birth. And he started raising me at 16. And to me, he's my role model because, like, he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, he was
Oh, like he was
16 when he
16.
started raising me.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And then, like, he got shot in 2014 and lost 7 pints of blood.
Oh my gosh.
He literally almost died.
Yeah.
Got up, he went through physical therapy and all of that, and went right back to work like nothing ever happened. Like you would not know that he ever went through that or anything. Then he struggled with addiction to fentanyl and stuff like that. And then he got put in rehab and he's working all over again. But even through all of those struggles, he still managed to take care of my siblings. All my
Wow.
younger siblings, he took care of every single one of them. He owns his own house, you know, got his car, make sure my siblings are good. So like that's my role model because that shows me like no matter what struggles you go through in life, you could still succeed. Like you could still get where you want to be because you're always gonna have struggles.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Welcome. Good morning to whoever just joined. I can't tell because it says iPhone, but we're glad to have you with us either way. Well, that's a great answer, Zach. That's awesome. He sounds like um, an awesome dude. It sounded like the theme there was kind of resilience and perseverance, and that's what makes him your role model. That no matter what he's going through, he keeps persevering to provide for you and your siblings and your family and all that stuff. So very awesome.
And
Thank you for sharing. Anybody else who has an answer or thoughts for this? So good morning, Deja. All right, Deja, if you're just joining us, we are talking in our community meeting this morning about role models. So who's your biggest role model? Why? If you don't have one, do you think you're your biggest role model? And why or why not? Zach has already shared hers. Great job. Anybody else has any thoughts on this? I would love to hear. You can put them in the chat or you can come off mute, whatever works. Anyone else who has a role model in their lives or views themselves as their own role model? They just said my mom's my role model because she's strong and independent. Awesome. Is there anything specific that she does or has done that you always kind of think of when you think about a role model, Deja, or just in general, she you know shows you all the traits that you aspire to? Or why Deja's thinking of that? Anyone else? She works, takes care of 8 kids. Yeah, wow, awesome. Very cool. So definitely a great role model to be able to work, take care of 8 kids at the same time, stay on top of everything. Super cool. Anybody else who has one? We haven't heard from yet. Mira, Rashawn, Kareem. Any role models that come to mind for you guys? My Dukes. Now you have to forgive me, Kareem, but I don't. I'm not familiar with that term, Dukes. So is that like dad, brother, grandfather? Oh, gotcha. All right, so Kareem said mom. Rashawn says his mom as well. Awesome. Is there a specific reason you guys listed your mom as your role model? Or is it kind of the similar vibe that other people have already shared, just being strong, being independent, taking care of everybody? What do you guys think? Similar to what Jay just said, Kareem. Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Mine would, I can share mine too. Mine would, well, my mom is also awesome. I would think first, probably my dad, and then my brother-in-law. So my one sister's husband. They've been kind of the biggest role model figures in my life because um, kind of similar to Zach's situation. They both work hard, have worked hard their whole life. Um, neither of them are college educated. My dad, especially, but still, had a family, had 5 kids, and worked his whole life. He's a little bit older. He's 75. Had heart surgery like about a year ago, and is up and running better than ever, and just always, thinking about family and good work ethic and all that stuff. So that would be mine as well. So I think kind of similar to what everybody else has said, which is super cool. All right. Well, I hope that you guys can eventually be role models to people one day, just like, oh, thank you, Zach. And just like the role models you listed for you. What do you think? I think that's a good way to kind of wrap it up then. I'll put this in the chat as well. But what do you think makes a good role model then? Like, what should people look for? A good role model. This is a good wrap up question here for this. Certainly, that is true, Zach. I agree. So let's think about that question to wrap up for this morning for our community meeting. What do we think? Based on everything we talked about, what do we think makes a good role model? What would you?
Good structure at home. When you have good structure in your household,
can you be more
structure as in like, structure to me is like when you have parents that are on top of you about, school, that check on your mental health, that, make sure you're always good. They notice when you skipping meals. They notice when you're in your room too much. Like, parents
Gotcha.
that are constantly on top of you and stuff. Even if they tell you, like not to, go do something and you still do it, but then they yell at you about it. It's structured. They're yelling at you for a reason. It's not just because they're trying to be annoying. It's not because of that. Eventually, you're gonna learn that. I'm learning that now,
Yeah.
and I'm about to be 19 in a month. So it's like, I feel like it's late, but it's still early.
Yeah, and listen, all that stuff that you know, even that little bit that you're just now being like, oh yeah, that keeps going. The older you get, the further removed from your adolescence that you get, the more you see the reasons behind you know why your parents did everything and how they did everything, and it makes you appreciate it that much more. So you're, like you said, you're already starting to appreciate that just at 19. So I'm 28, and so just imagine in 10 more years how much more you appreciate all that stuff.
I
So
have a sister that is your age,
mhm.
and she's starting to learn that now too.
Yeah, yeah, and I think I don't have kids, but I imagine when you have your own kids, it maybe even amplifies it, and maybe it even like puts it on a fast track of like, okay, yeah, now I have my own kid, and now I realize like why they did this and this, or how to do this and this. You know what I mean?
I only learned because I have younger siblings, so like I had to like
That's kind of like
really,
because you're taking care of them, right?
yeah. So it's like when I live with my dad, because I go back and forth. Like I'll live by myself, but then I'll live with my dad. So then
Hmm.
when I'm with him, it's like I constantly have to be this role model for them. Like if I curse, they curse. If I call my stepmom by her name, they'll call her by her name. And then if I
Yeah.
don't do dishes, they don't do dishes. So it's like you have to be on top of yourself. And I feel like as an adult in general, if you're setting rules for your kids or for anybody younger than you should obey those rules too. So that's also with structure. Are you sure?
Yeah, I agree, Zach. All right, awesome job. This was really good conversation. And again, like I said, I hope that eventually you guys will be, if you're not already, great role models to other people, just like the role models you listed for yourselves. All right. And don't forget that you can also be, because all of you are, yes, Philly veterans, I think, except for Deja, who's new. Um, so, don't forget that, it doesn't have to just be like a family dynamic to be a role model. It can be something as small as that. Like, okay, how can I be a good role model to the new students at Yes Philly, especially when we get back into the building and they're seeing it in there physically. So just keep all that stuff in mind. All right, very good job. All right, my friends. So let's take 5 and kind of refresh before we jump into first period. And then I'm going to put up our do now slide, and we will kind of get caught up on our story and everything that we should have done for Friday, since I know I wasn't here on Monday. All right, thank you guys. So I will see you in 5 minutes. Thanks. All right, welcome back. Let's say we just had somebody else join us as well. I know people going in and out. All right, y'all. So it is that time. Let us jump in. All right. Do I have afternoon classes, Rashawn? By that, I'm gonna assume by that, do you mean the afternoon summit lab? If that's the case, then yes, I do, between 1 and 3 today. All right. If you mean like elective classes, like on Wednesdays, I do not. Okay. All right, y'all. If you saw our agenda slide for today, we were in between here. This is what we're doing. We're going to kind of wrap up the first part of homegoing. We're going to use a Nearpod to do that, right? And so we can hit our objective, which is to read and analyze chapter 1. Okay. So if you can, what I want you to do for me, please, is head to join.nearpod.com, and then you can enter in this code UXEJK. All right. And then, like it says, put a thumbs up in the chat when you are there. If you don't have thumbs up, just tell me that you got it. Right. So if any of you have been here on Wednesdays with Mr. Luke, you should be a little bit familiar with Nearpod. I know he's used it before. So we're going to use it today to help get everybody caught up to where we are in the story. Okay. So again, take a few minutes, 2 minutes or so, and head to join.nearpod.com and then put in this code UXEJK. Right. You will know that you are, I'm going to pause this real quick. You know that you're in the right place. Pull this up. If your screen looks like, hang on. Oh, Zach, we already got you in there. That's good. If your screen looks like this, then you know you are in the right place. It'll also ask you to type your name in there too. So, all right. So again, head to Nearpod, type in that code, put a thumbs up in the chat when you're there so I know that you got it and everybody's on the same page. Let's give it maybe about another minute if you still don't have it. I only saw Zach in there as of right now. All right, let's check the chat. Are we there? Are we getting it? Do-do-do. Yeah, so like you said, Zach, it should be that video, right? Don't see any of the thumbs up in the chat. So are we there? Are we having trouble finding it? Do we have it pulled up? All right, you guys gotta let me know because I don't want to. I don't want to keep going That's you guys. All right, so let's do this. I'm going to put. All right. So the link, oh, I sent to you individually, Rashawn. Right. So if you all click if you're not there yet, if you click the link that, yes, Rashawn, I do. Every teacher does from 1 to 3 every day except Wednesday. So if you're still having trouble pulling it up, ladies and gents, you can click the link that I just put in the chat, and that will bring you to the site, and then I'll put the code in the chat as well. It's the same link you use for this class, Rashawn. So one link for every teacher. So that teacher's link stays the same for everything. Let me make sure that was right. UXEJK. All right. So again, if you're still not at the Nearpod link, click that link I just put in the chat, and then the code is UXEJK 1 to 3. Same time that they have been since the beginning of the year. 1 to 3 every day. Yeah. Right. Oh, we lost Zach for a minute. Oh, but I see Sabrine sneak in here, so welcome to you. All right, y'all. Again, we'll give it maybe one more minute. Please try and pull up that Nearpod link. Again, if you head to the link I put in the chat and then you put in the code, which is UXEJK, then you should be looking at a screen that looks like this. And I will share my screen here. All right, so this is where you should be. Click that link in the chat and then put in the code that I put in the chat as well. And you want to be right here. Okay, hey, Zanelia has joined us. Welcome. All right, so Zanelia, in case you can't see the chat because you just joined, I will throw these up there again. That's not what I want. All right, we are going to Nearpod. You can click that link to get there. And you can put in that code. So everybody else should be doing that now as well if you haven't already. All right. So good. We got Sabrine in there. We got Zach in there. We got Kareem in there. All right. So and I know Zanelle, you just joined, so still waiting on just one or two more of us. So Deja, Rashawn. Go ahead, click that Nearpod link, put in that code, and then you guys should be good to go. All right. All right, no worries. while the last bit of us are pulling it up, what we are going to do here, right? Let me share my screen again. All right. So what you are looking at on this Nearpod is essentially a video, but there's also some questions involved too. That's what you can see from these little dots right here. Each one of these dots is a point in the video where it's going to stop and ask you a question. You must answer the question to continue. That's the way I have it set up to make sure everybody gets through it. So this whole video is the audiobook reading of the first chapter. Now I know we got through excuse me. We got through, I think, or maybe we didn't because I wasn't here Monday. So I'm not sure if we started reading the book together or not. I actually don't think we did. Now that I'm thinking of it. So that's why I decided just to get everybody caught up and be able to kind of work on it at our own pace. I would put it into a Nearpod. So what's going to happen here, ladies and gents, when you guys do this, I'll demonstrate it now on my screen, is you hit play and it'll start reading the book to you. Now, it is kind of like an automated voice, so it sounds a little bit funky, but you can still get the gist, right?
Part on Effie the night Effie Roger was born into the musky heat of Fantland. A fire raged through the woods just outside her father's compound. It moved quickly, tearing a path for days. It lived off the air. It slept in caves and hid in trees. It burned.
Okay, so you can see it'll start reading the book to you. Now, just so you can see, for example, as it's going, if you come up to one of these dots right here, right, you'll see what'll happen.
In my blood. Barbara placed a hand over her lips. Who else knows? No one. Effie said, you will keep it that way. Do you understand? When anyone asks you if you have become a woman yet, you will answer no. Effie nodded. She turned to leave, but a question was burning hot coals in the pit of her stomach. Why? She finally asked. Barbara reached into Effie's mouth and pulled out her tongue, pinching the tip with her sharp fingernails. Who are you, that you think you can question me, ENH? If you do not do as I say, I will make sure you never speak again. She released Effie's tongue, and for the rest of the night, Effie tasted her own blood. That.
Okay. And so now this I have on my teacher view, all right? So it'll look a little bit different, but you can see how it stops here and it'll present you this question, and then you'll type in your answer, you'll hit submit, and then it'll keep going along with the rest of the story, all right? So, and if you are just joining us, I heard time, so Jaden, welcome, okay? If you're just joining us, we are on Nearpod, so I'll put the link in the chat again. All right. And yes, Rashawn, you would hit join a lesson, and then you would type in this code that I am going to put in the chat again as well. Okay. So that's where you should be. So then, ladies and gents, what I want you guys to have done by tomorrow, since that's when all the stuff for the first progress report is due, is I want you to have this first part of this first chapter read, which essentially just means that you've watched this video, you've listened, and you've answered all the corresponding questions. Okay. Now, again, I will be able to see who's answered them in my like Nearpod view. Okay. So I'll be able to see who's joined and stuff like that. So again, right now we still only have about 3 people in there. So if you're not there yet, please do that now. If you're not at your laptop right now or anything like that, that's okay. Again, we are recording this class, and if you want to take a screenshot of something like that, that's fine. If you want to come and see me in the Summit Lab and get it straightened out there, that's fine too. All right. But this is a way for you guys to get caught up with where we are in the book, but also not have to sit here and just listen to me read the whole time. and still kind of be able to answer the questions we need to answer. Right. Then when we come back next class on Monday, we'll kind of recap. We'll talk about point of view, purpose a little bit more, and then we'll get into kind of answering the first checkpoint. All right. Yep, I see you on my list, Rashawn. Good job. Okay, and Jade, I see you in there too. Excellent, excellent. Good work, everyone. All right, ladies and gents. So then what we're going to do for the rest, first of all, any questions with
Did
what
you
you're
see
doing
my message?
on the Nearpod? I did not. Zanelia, hang on, let me look back. Okay. Yeah. So you're good. No worries on that. Like I said, this is all we're doing today, and you can do this. The cool thing about Nearpod is you can go back and do it whenever. All right. So if you want to take a screenshot of, the code, and then you can just go back to Nearpod, put in the code, and then continue, listening to the story. And if you want to come do it in the afternoon lab later today or tomorrow, that's fine too. All right.
Okay.
So, ladies and gents, the two things that I will be expecting from you by the end of the day tomorrow, so midnight tomorrow night, right, are the questions on this Nearpod completed, so you finish this video, and then also the family tree that we started working on last week that you can find under checkpoint 1. Okay, so let me share my screen again real quick, show you that. Right. So if you're under checkpoint 1 on Summit and you remember we were working on this entry event note taker sheet and it looked like this. Okay. And then towards the bottom, we were talking about family trees, et cetera, et cetera. We were looking at different examples of ones. All right. And then we said the last part of the project was going to be to make our own. So you can, brainstorm the list of people you want to include. You can create a key, so I know how to read it. Like, okay, if it's a circle, it's on my dad's side. If it's a square, it's on my mom's side. If it's a blue line, it means they're married, et cetera, et cetera. And then the last part is to actually make the tree. You can do it on the actual doc on Summit. You can do it in a separate Google Doc and share it with me. You can do it by hand, take a picture of it, email it to me. A bunch of people have done theirs that way. All right. I will be accepting these up until Friday since we started them a little bit ago. Okay. So to be passing on track for your progress report, again, I need your family tree, right? And I need to see that you have completed all of the Nearpod questions. Okay. All right. Yeah, Rashawn, no worries. If you want to do by hand, that's fine. Just make sure you take a picture of it, email it to me. Okay. So can somebody please remind us either over your mic or in the chat, what are the two things that you should have done for the progress report on Friday? Yeah, if you want to email me before you do it, that's no problem, Rashawn. One more time. What are the two things I need from everybody by Friday, by the end of the day tomorrow for progress reports? Can anybody remind us what I just said? So that I know everybody's on the same page. One is the family tree. Yes, Zach, thank you so much. And the other one is what?
The questions on the Nearpod.
Yes, Danelia, thank you so much. Good to know you guys are listening. All right, ladies and gents, then for the rest of this morning, I am going to turn the time over to you guys to work on the Nearpod. So again, I will put the link in the chat one more time to that, just in case anybody doesn't have it yet or isn't signed on there. But we do got a good bit of people. I got Zach, Sabrine, Rashawn, Kareem, Jaden. I got all you guys on there. Okay. So anybody is still having trouble, Amira, Shamir, Deja, I'm going to put the link to it in the chat one more time. And I'm going to put the code in the chat one more time. Okay. And then the rest of the morning, you guys can just start listening to that video, answering the questions as they pop up. All right. Now, if you don't get through the whole thing this morning, that's fine. All right. Just get as far as you can. Yeah. And no worries, Zach. I will send you all that stuff. As far as today goes, you have everything you need if you have the Nearpod link. So I don't want you to be thinking about too much at once. So just focus on this for now. And then later today, I will email you everything else, at least for my class, that you need. And I will let the other teachers know to do the same as well. Does that sound good? You got it. All right, ladies and gents, so I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to give you guys some time to work on the Nearpod. Right, I want to check back in periodically, and then we'll wrap up before everybody's out of here. And again, remember, as you're doing the Nearpod, when it gets to the questions, you have to respond. It won't let you keep going until you respond to the question. So that way, that helps me make sure that everybody is on track doing it. Okay. All right, you guys, thank you. If questions come up, you're unsure how to do anything on the Nearpod, you're having trouble finding something, just give me a shout or put it in the chat. All right. Thank you, guys. To answer your question, Rashawn, yes. So the whole video is all of chapter 1. So the short answer is yes, watch the whole thing, but it's broken up because it stops at certain points and asks you questions, right? And legends, do your best with the questions. I know it might be tough because it's a little bit of a robotic voice reading it. but do your best to follow along. If you get one of the questions wrong, that's okay. We're going to go back and kind of recap this anyway. Okay. But this is just a good way to get caught up at, because I know people work at different paces. So this way you can go back and do it later today, do some more tomorrow. And then my next class, we should be all caught up to the same thought. All right. No worries, Jaden. Jaden, I'll ask you just come back in at about 10:20 if you can. All right. Thank you.
That's what it sounds like too.
Hey, Denim. Welcome. Good morning. We are working on a Nearpod video to get everybody caught up in the story that we're reading, Homegoing. So I will send to you in the chat right now the link to join the Nearpod and then the code to put in. So when you click the link, you'll just hit join class and then put in the code right after that, and then you should be good to go. And then essentially you're just going to watch/listen to the video, and then it'll stop at different parts and ask you some questions based on the book. So I know since I wasn't here Monday, this is a quicker way to get everybody caught up, right? So if you have questions, just let me know, give me a shout. But that's what we are working on this morning, all right? The rest of you keep up the good work, all right? Now, Zach, just to let you know, I see you on the Nearpod list twice. So I don't know if you joined by on another device or something like that, but just as a heads up. And also, I don't know if you all stepped away, but Deja, Amira, Shamir, I still don't see you on there on the Nearpod list. So if you're having trouble finding it or logging on or putting in the code, give me a shout. But if you've stepped away, then I cannot help you. Oh, if you don't, yeah, that could be why. So just do it on one of them. You don't have to go through it on both. So. All right, I'll keep it up. I'm gonna check back in about another maybe 5-10 minutes. All right, good job.
You missed time on it.
You got in there, Denim?
Yeah.
Yep, I see you on there. All right, cool, awesome. So then, yeah, so just start the video, be listening, following along, and then it'll pop up at different times and ask you questions, and then you put your answer in, and then it'll keep going. You have to answer the question for it to keep going. So that just helps me know that people aren't skipping and stuff like that. All right, good job. Right now, so just checking back in here quick. See if anybody has questions, see how it's going. I can check in on my end as well. Right, so we are getting there slowly but surely. I see one answer already for the first question. So keep up the good work. All right. Yeah, so I can see when someone answers a question, Rasan. I can't see um I can't see whose answer it is. Um I I have to change that in my settings if I want to. But there is an answer in there already. So if you answered a question and submitted it, then yes, I got it.
Was you saying anything important? Because I was listening to the audiobook and I didn't hear anything you said.
Are you talking about just now, Sabrine?
Yeah.
No, I was just kind of checking in and seeing how everybody's doing with the Nearpod, if anybody has questions, anything like that. And
Okay.
just let people know that I do see some answers coming in already. So, people are doing a good job and keeping it up. All right, Legions, keep up the good work. Make sure you're answering those questions as they pop up when you get to those points. And I'll check back in about another 5 minutes to wrap up here. Good job. All right, y'all, about another minute, then we'll bring it back and wrap up here. All right, y'all. Hopefully we everybody's back with us. So just to kind of recap here, the two things I need from you again for progress reports by the end of the night tomorrow night are your family tree and these Nearpod questions finished. I know it is a little bit of a long video, the Nearpod one, so if you can't get through the whole thing, but I see you've answered at least like 3/4 of the questions, then that'll be okay. And then definitely by next class on Monday, you should have that whole Nearpod thing done. Now again, and Rashawn, this answers your question. The cool thing about Nearpod is you can go back anytime later and pick up where you left off, and your answers will once you submit an answer, it's in there. So you don't have to do the whole thing in one shot. That's why I put it in an Nearpod, because I know everybody goes at different paces in terms of listening and following along and stuff like that. So just make sure that that stuff is done. I'm going to also be I'll send an email reminder out. I'll put a reminder announcement up on Summit as well. All right. And then don't forget, for your family tree, you can do it by hand and take a picture, send it to me if you want to do it that way. If you have questions, let me know. And as always, if you are stumped on anything or you need some extra help, you can come see me in the afternoon Summit Lab. Okay? All right, no worries, Rashawn, you're good. All right, ladies and gents, so if there are no other questions, then you guys are good to go for today. I'll hang in the chat for about another minute or two in case you have anything that you're stumped on, but if not, you are good to go. If I have you for second period, I will see you in a few minutes. And if not, have a good, safe weekend, stay healthy, and I will see you on Monday. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and end the chat. If you have questions, shoot me an email or come see me in the Summit Lab. Remember, it's the same link you use for this class. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you all on Monday.